I think everyone, since we're all standing, I suggest that I hope that members of my former fraternity, you've gotten all your pictures. If we can remain standing. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of our beloved Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Please remain standing for the national anthem of the Democratic Republic of India.
Jana Gana Mana Adhinayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Banga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Uchala Jaladhi Taranga तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Please take your seats. Dr. Pradeep Raj Purohit, High Commissioner of India to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Dr. the Honorable Michael Dowla, Minister of Education. His Worship, the Mayor of SanFernando, Councillor Robert Paris. Mr. Hanson Narayan, Member of Parliament for Claxton Bay, and Parliamentary Secretary of the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training. Mr. Nairan Mohammed, Director of Industry, Business Development, Directorate, Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism. Mr. Kiran Singh, our host, President of the Greater SanFernando Area Chamber of Commerce. Heads of Chambers of Commerce, business leaders, our specially invited guests, members of the Greater SanFernando Area Chamber of Commerce, members of the media. My name is Hansley Ajona, and it is certainly a pleasure to be here. I'm the Secretary of the Greater SanFernando Area Chamber of Commerce, and it's an honor for me to share this function here with you this evening. And the theme is doing business with India, and of course in collaboration with our chamber, the Greater SanFernando Chamber of Commerce. What's most interesting about it is that as a second generation Trinidadian, I'm chairing this on my birthday. So it's a double honor for me. considering that my film company has just set up an advertising agency to do business with India, as my company has films streaming around the world. In addition to that, I'll be hosting from your country a New Delhi, a company out of New Delhi called LD Sharma Films, one of the largest advertising companies in India, is coming here to shoot a movie. And our company has been asked to be the second unit for Trinidad, where 30% of the film is going to be shot in Trinidad and the other in India. And I think I'm seeing one of the people who was the architects of doing that. Is this Mr. Sharma there? Mr. Chandra Sharma, who made the introduction to Mr. Sharma in India. So thank you very much. Doing business with India is something my company is eagerly looking forward to, and I'm sure that this evening's proceedings no doubt will shed some light on the importance of reconnecting with what I term my grandmother country. My grandparents are Indian nationals. That's my paternal grandparents are Indian nationals. So as a second generation Trinidadian, I grew up where Hindustani was the main language. And of course, all the cultures of India are so well preserved in our country, and indeed in my early life. And it has certainly spilled over into my adult life, bringing what I would call some of the most important virtues that I would have learned as an individual. And I'm sure there are many people inside of this room who can attest to that as well. So I'm very excited, and I'm very, very happy that our president, Mr. Kiran Singh, my dear brother, friend and president, took the opportunity to initiate these proceedings with His Excellency. Without further ado, we've got a lot of distinguished people, as you can see, at our head table over here, and I'm eager to hear from all of them, because this is certainly a wonderful opportunity to bring all these extraordinary individuals together under one roof. And the man who has managed to do that, the architect of it, is now going to bring you opening remarks. He's the president of the Greater SanFernando Area Chamber of Commerce. He is a consummate patriot, and like me, grew up on the streets of SanFernando. Here to bring you greetings, our president of the Greater SanFernando Area Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Kiran Singh.
Good evening all. Dr. Pradeep Rajpurit, High Commissioner of India to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Dr. the Honorable Michael Dollar, Minister of Education, Member of Parliament for SanFernando West. His Worship, the Mayor of SanFernando, Councillor Robert Paris. Mr. Hassan Narayan Singh, Member of Parliament for Paxton Bay, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training. Mr. Nareem Mohammed, Director of Industry, Business Development Director, Ministry of Trade, Tourism and Investment. Heads of Chambers of Commerce, business leaders, members of the Greater SanFernando Area Chamber of Commerce, and the media. Good evening once again. This evening's program of doing business with India is happening at the most opportune time. The recent visit by Prime Minister Modi to our country created many new and exciting trade, sporting, educational, and cultural opportunities. This conversation today will explore and expand on the numerous trade opportunities between our both countries. Trinidad and Tobago has benefited from long-standing healthy trade and cultural relationships with India since the arrival of the first indentured Indian laborers in 1845, some 180 years ago. Several memoranda were signed on the recent Indian PM's visit, ranging from agricultural assistance, pharmacopoeia cooperation, education, diplomatic advancement, and cultural exchange programs. This nation is at a critical juncture in the geographical and economic transformation happening across the world. The BRICS group, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, is aggressively moving to counter the USA's protectionist regime and the reliance on the US dollar for trade in oil. Prime Minister Modi has been promoting South-South trade on his travels to friendly countries around the world. This strategy will have the positive impact of negating the multiple tariff structures currently being imposed by the USA on trading partners around the globe. Here at home, a 15% tariff was recently imposed just 2 days ago on goods originating from this country, Trinidad and Tobago. This has the potential to weaken our forex earning capabilities as the USA remains our largest trading partner. The 15% tariff can destabilize existing and future sales for fertilizers, urea, ammonia, and methanol, which remain some of our largest exports. The food and beverage and manufacturing sectors will be negatively impacted in the short term. The competitive advantage can be lost in the medium term if left unchecked. Creating greater trading links with India is absolutely essential, especially at this time for Trinidad and Tobago's economic survival and sustainability. This is why it is so important to participate in this seminar today, to expand on existing bilateral trade and to seek out many opportunities. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. A special video has been prepared, as you can see, and I'll ask you to take a look at the screen over here. The title of this is Invest India, the gateway to India's investment potential. Already, my own company is seeing the importance of it. But India, I have a daughter, and I forgot to mention this, my second child lives in Goa. India, so recently she told me that she bought a little flat in Mumbai as well. And I told her, I said, well, wouldn't you like to come home? Interestingly, she said no. This video, no doubt, may lend some reasons as to why she decided to refuse to come back home. My granddaughter actually lives across there. I know I probably don't look like a grandfather, but indeed I do. I have one. So let's go to this very special video now. Invest in India. Much is to be learned from this.
yesterday blends seamlessly with tomorrow. A nation rises like a symphony of hope and progress. A land where cultures intertwine, languages harmonize, and traditions dance in unity. We are where the ancient meets the modern. But this is not just a land of history, it's a land of innovation. The sky is no longer the limit with the momentous Chandrayaan-3 landing.
लैंडर मॉड्यूल पूरी तरह से सेफली और सॉफ्टली चंद्रमा की सतह पे लैंड हो चुका है.
Whether it is revolutionizing the fintech ecosystem with the highest number of digital transactions or powering a sustainable future with EV, we are driving the global growth story. India, an era of new opportunities, a land of innovation, where your vision transforms into reality. Welcome to India, the fastest growing economy in the world.
Today, we see global optimism and confidence in the Indian economy. India is seen as a combination of openness, opportunities, and options.
From Make in India to Make for the World, India's economic transformation offers a multitude of investment avenues. The drivers of the change that India is witnessing, both at its scale and at its pace, offer you an opportunity to partner with India in this unprecedented growth. We are Invest India, the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency of the Government of India, your gateway to India.
We are an organization which is government as well as private. We understand what it takes to make a business thrive in India. As a result, we will be a point of contact for you to make business doing easy for you.
Invest India handholds you throughout your investment journey, providing end-to-end facilitation and aftercare to ensure your business keeps thriving.
We have a very large, energetic team here in India, but we are looking at growing in the countries which have democratic vision like us. Our team here is signed up to help you, hold hands with you through a landing platform that we have, which will help you land and make you operational. Not only make you operational, but have the best ROI.
Whether it is connecting the districts of the country to the world, fast-tracking approvals through a single window, or identifying potential land banks, we facilitate the ease of doing business to create a conducive environment for investors.
Invest India is the Government of India's investment promotion and facilitation agency at the federal level. We are a not-for-profit entity, the single point of contact for entering and expanding in the Indian market. Our teams of experts will support you in understanding the market landscape, sectorial opportunities here, regulatory environment, supplier ecosystem, and policy frameworks. We have international presence and are also spread across all of the Indian states. If you have decided on establishing your entity in India, we help you to connect with states, tap into India's vast plug-and-play manufacturing infrastructure, conduct location assessment to identify the right land parcel, and map states' incentive structures for you, all for you to be successful. We just don't leave you after you have set up your business here. Our Invest India Aftercare team will support you till you start production or have established your office here, till you generate returns.
Invest India has facilitated more than 1,000 companies from over 150 countries across 61 sectors in India. These companies have found a home in almost 31 states and union territories of the country, which provide a thriving environment for their business to flourish. Invest India empowers investors to make informed decisions based on data-driven strategies, personalized recommendations, and real-time market analysis for companies to leverage the abundant opportunities within the country's burgeoning technology sector.
Technology has become the cornerstone of India's economic progress. Invest India ensures a smooth investment journey by actively supporting the government in policy creation and execution for increasing production to cater to the domestic demand and exports, in deepening the technology value chain in the country, and supporting the development of a skilled workforce to cater to global manufacturing requirements.
In the fast-paced digital age, the convergence of technology and youth is reshaping the future. As the organization with the average age of 29 years, Invest India mirrors the power of Young India.
Young India is steering the growth of the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. Around 900 million minds and hands are driving the fastest growing major economy in the world. Invest India is a microcosm of Young India coming from the diverse corners of the country.
If you are a multinational corporation looking to expand, or a startup seeking growth opportunity, or an individual investor exploring new horizons, we are here to support you every step of the way. Come, join hands with us. India is ready. Are you?
Certainly encouraging, isn't it? I can easily tell you that the technology in India is so well advanced that already I can, as a film company streaming, we could hit over 10 million people within a minute. And this is the kind of potential that India now presents for us. Interestingly, when my granddaughter was born, my daughter asked me, she said, could you buy me a car seat for the baby? And I said, sure, I'll send the money for you. And I said, do you have to go out to get it? And where are you going to get it? And she said, no, it's going to be delivered home. And then when she was setting up the room for her, she asked me, she said, could you send money? I want to put an air-conditioned unit for the baby. I said, no problem. And she said, that too will be delivered. That's the ease of doing business in India. Amazing. Let's give them a round of applause again, Invest India. Our next speaker shares something with our president. They both share a similar birthplace. The grandfather of our president, Kiran Singh, was born in Rajasthan. And His Excellency Pradeep Rajpurohit was also born in Rajasthan. Am I correct? So we're looking at two men who come from a very similar land and a very similar place. And they say sometimes that if you read on Stoicism and of course divine intervention, etc., this seems to be like a new match made in heaven. To bring us remarks, His Excellency, and of course incidentally they're vegetarian as well, so they share the same diet. I too started off life as a vegetarian, but of course life in Trinidad became too sweet. I would like to welcome His Excellency, Dr. Pradeep Rajpurohit, High Commissioner of India to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Please give him a warm welcome.
Please be seated. Namaste. Very good evening to everyone here. I sincerely thank the Greater SanFernando Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Kiran Singh, and all of you for taking time for this special discussion. It is timely. A lot of things have been said and we have seen a glimpse of our country. What you have seen may be a little part of that. And every time when you visit India, Bharat, you can see only a part of it. I come from a desert state as our friend Kiran Singh's forefathers. But you find different hues, colors of India in different parts. So it requires many trips, many travel plans to actually have the full sense of our country. It's not just one country, but it's a full size of continent. It's a land of opportunities, fastest growing economy, fourth largest economy today, and plenty of opportunities around. I have been here in Trinidad and Tobago for good year, close to 2 years now, few months. I came around Diwali time and I have seen both sides. I see a special affection among people here and for their own particular special regions, family connections. There is a lot of fondness. After coming here, I did realize that it's kind of Bharat that we live here also in many senses and do not feel out of our country. And in that context that I realized and I felt the necessities, the priorities on both sides. And I come to that. Let me pronounce the dignitaries of this evening. Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Michael Dollar, Honorable Parliamentary Secretary, Dr. Hansen Narayan Singh, Honorable His Worship Mayor of San Fernando, Councillor Robert Paris. We have Mr. Miran Muhammad, Director in the Ministry of Industry Business in the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism. Mr. Kiran Singh, of course, the President of the Chamber, Mr. Rama. And we have our esteemed MC for this event, Mr. Ajodha, Mr. Hansley Ajodha. I may be missing some names here and there, but I try to cover. Last evening we had a Thanksgiving evening. We are still in the mode of visit of Prime Minister Modi ji, and I think it is very early in the tenure of the current government that the Prime Minister has decided to visit. We had a historic, very successful visit with a number of deliverables, agreements, MOUs being signed. So last evening that we all gathered, Honorable former Minister Chandresh Sharma ji, he was also there, and many of the other colleagues and dignitaries were around. And we discussed many aspects. Of course, visit was really successful. We had several announcements made and we are in the process of implementation. But coming to the business, as I said that there is a special connection. We have special affinities, somebody's forefather, grandfather, daughters, granddaughters. We have that special connection. But in terms of business, in terms of the commercial engagement, where we are, of course the two countries are of different sizes, but we are not talking, when we talk outside, we do not get into numbers, size and all. Where do we stand in terms of commerce, where do we stand in terms of business. It is in this context that High Commission, we do talks with the business chambers. I have done in the past also some of the conversation with the other business chambers. I may not be a businessman, but we try to bring in this platform for a brainstorming, that we discuss, we think, we evaluate, we make an assessment that what all we can do in terms of enhancing these business ties, economic and commercial engagement. When you look at the business numbers, the trade numbers, we see it is still below the potential. The number very simple, it comes to about 370 million US dollar in the last financial year. Our financial year is from April to March, and Trinidad and Tobago is way ahead of us when it comes to the number. Out of 341 million USD, 220 million is the export from Trinidad and Tobago to India, whereas our export here is still 121 million US dollar. We may say there is an imbalance, and I come to the breakup. But important thing is that this number is still far below the potential. We talk into the kind of engagement and the affinity we have, the close connections we have, the way we follow the culture, the way of life. I think this number needs to be improved to at least 1 billion or more. And this is our effort. This is our effort, that we bring in together all the stakeholders, from the government to business to chambers and other entities, to discuss what all can be done to enhance this business ties. Of course, there is an element of indirect trade which does not reflect, and I have said on other platforms also, that the indirect trade between the two countries through third countries in Europe, in America, in other places is not reflected here. The products you see in Trinidad, in the region, many of them do not come directly from India. It comes through some other channels, and as a result, the cost increases. As a result, the benefit, the margin made by the middlemen, that makes the cost higher when it comes to actually the customers, the consumers here. And in that context, that we see a potential of enhancing greater bilateral trade. This was also resonated during Prime Minister Modi ji's visit in Trinidad and Tobago, and in our earlier occasions also. Now, coming to the breakup of the trade from Trinidad and Tobago, it is mainly about petrochemicals. It is mainly about petrochemicals, that out of your 221 million US dollar, 195 million is only about the mineral fuels, oils, and the products, their derivatives. But I see a potential of even greater trade. Yesterday I have been getting calls that someone in India is looking for 500, God knows how many million tons of methanol, and they say that there is a potential in Trinidad and Tobago. Somewhere in India I have been getting calls. So these kinds of things are there. Of course, this is good, but other products are hardly I see here. From India to Trinidad and Tobago, I see 3 major products. Vehicles, where I see Trinidad is coming more and more prominent on the export map. Pharmaceuticals, indeed, promising area. We have made progress, and I will come to that in some more detail. And then the plastic and related articles, a little bit of iron and steel. So these are the few products that have gained prominence, but I do not see several of the areas where India has a strength: food, textiles, processed items. There are plenty of areas. These do not figure in the priority areas, and therefore I see that there is a potential of greater collaboration with business bodies here. For example, and I give you an example, in the High Commission we receive all the time queries from India. I am such and such person in such and such part of India having my own production line, say in dry fruits, nuts. Somebody is saying that I have a tea processing company. Somebody is saying that I am having automobile parts, engineering parts, and all kinds of stuff. What we do, we have been sending to the government and some of the business entities. But what we need is a greater collaboration in the context that we, and this is a subject to discussion, can we this just forward it to the business chambers, and business chambers would religiously, sincerely forward to all the members. So if somebody has some interest in some of the areas, probably it may hit, and then he may think of connecting them and bringing them together. Another area, probably a possible area of collaboration, that in India we have plenty of business exhibitions and events, and they seek participation from Trinidad and Tobago. I know there is a distance, there are challenges, but at times the organizers of these events to promote, they sponsor and they provide assistance in terms of airfare, local hospitality, and plenty of other things. Can this be conveyed to the business chambers, and will it reach to all the members, all the stakeholders, that actual business, those who into their respective business would be able to go attend. There is an annual event on food processing, food products. There is an annual event on pharmaceuticals. There is an annual CII enclave. There is a telecom event. And likewise, you won't believe that on each commodity in India, we have an export promotion council. You name a product in India, we have a specialized body, tobacco promotion board, coffee promotion board, tea promotion board, gems and jewelry export promotion council, leather export promotion council, and likewise. So, I have not come here to, these discussions have taken place in the past also. I have not come here with a written speech or anything, but to give you some practical ideas that how we can make a difference, how the business community can actually get involved. And in that process, all these business bodies, you being a smaller part of the smaller country, probably have to customize your package. It's a large country, it's an ocean. It's a place where you have to customize your package, that this is what you need in this area, and this is your, say, a budget or a financial, limit. And we can work that around. We are here in the High Commission for this purpose. This is our duty. This is one of our mandate, that we connect, link the business communities. And in that context, I wish to now join directly with the business chambers. Of course, the government is there and we are sending, but there is always a limit at the level of government. So it is important that we discuss those ideas, how we can have greater representation, greater collaboration, active participation of the business community in India's promising areas, which can make a difference. And I come to sectors, food and beverage sector. Prominent area, we have similar food habits. I see when I go to supermarkets and all, we are loaded with all kinds of food here. We are blessed that whatever we need, eat and have in India, we are getting in Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, at a different price. So how we can do that? And in that context, I wish to highlight that we are a wholesale country. If you are bringing these items in a bulk, in a bigger quantity, the cost will go down. These days, the maritime distances are no longer the distances. The cost, once you bring those items in bulk, automatically the cost comes down. And therefore, food, I see items like rice, tea, spices, nuts, millets, and likewise, even processed vegetables, fruits, pulp, plenty of things around. Can we make some kind of a concerted effort in the process that these items are brought here in a bigger quantity? And this will, I tell you, we have been doing with many of the countries where I have served. It has made a difference. This will not just bring a better product, but it will drastically cut down the cost also. The other promising area is the textiles and apparel. We are known for one of the best cottons. We have all the silk, all these products. Many of us here in Trinidad get ethnic wear, silk, other fabrics. Now in this area we also have the potential of the garment industry, that the fabric is brought from India, which is at a very competitive price, and then actually it is custom designed, tailored. The tailors can be brought from India, the machines, specialized machine and these kinds of things, which will reduce the import bill, the foreign currency. And actually, as Trinidad and Tobago is located on a very important location on both North and South America, it can make a difference in the region. Now the other area, in my view, and most important area is agriculture. I see that your land, your climate, and I have said this in the past also, you are blessed with such a fertile land and such a favorable weather for the agriculture. India has turned from a net importer to net exporter of food grain after feeding such a large population in a span of less than a decade. We had the Green Revolution in the 1970s. And there is an immense potential, what I see in this sector, that all those advanced agriculture, seeds, fertilizer and technologies could be brought, agriculture related equipment. I see a tremendous potential for all those items here in Trinidad and Tobago. We are getting all kinds of suppliers from India readily available to provide these. Some of them can be actually distributor, but this has a tremendous potential. Similarly, the dairy products and processed products, and there is a potential to set up the processing plants of some of these products like rice, like milk and related products around. The fourth area and promising area is of course the pharmaceutical sector. And pharmaceutical, we congratulate Trinidad and Tobago for adopting the Indian pharmacopoeia. And this is after Guyana and Suriname, the third country in the region to adopt. What does that mean? It means that all these medicines available in India, subject to certain testing and quality standards, will be available in Trinidad and Tobago directly without getting into all those hurdles. And that means that the prices, what we see here in Trinidad and Tobago, are exorbitant and probably beyond the reach of many of the people here. So that products and India's world-class, high-quality medicines will be available to the people here. And I congratulate the government of Trinidad and Tobago for taking this initiative. And this will make a difference in the life of a common man here, common human being, persons here. And while the process is going on, several of the Indian companies are already approaching us that how soon this can be done and how this market will be opened, bringing down the prices of pharmaceuticals and related products in the country. Related factor is the healthcare, that the manpower required, the doctors, the paramedics. I know that there is sizable presence of Indian manpower here, but there is a greater need, as India is also known as these days a major hub of medical tourism. And I see that several of the advanced cases of complicated diseases that people are actually approaching the Indian healthcare groups, going actually to India for their advanced treatment. And last week I had some of the cases of cancer and all the time I get. The idea is that we connect these dots and bring in world-class healthcare facilities available in Trinidad and Tobago, not just for Trinidad but for the entire region, the smaller island countries, to make it available. This is possible. This can be done with a proper, communication between the healthcare chains, the corporate hospital groups and others in the process. Another promising area what we observed is the automobiles. In India, for the shorter distances, we have tuk-tuk, the three-wheelers, as you see sometimes in Indian movies and all. We do not see it here somehow. I have approached the government in the past also that while you have shorter distances, it becomes very easy. It is very economical, it is safe for these shorter distances. And these days when I go, every time you go to India, you see a lot of differences. Every 5 years you go, you see a different India. But when I go from time to time, I see these days we have e-rickshaws. We used to have those rickshaws, but these days there is another rickshaw called e-rickshaw run with the batteries. So it is a long rickshaw, it runs at a speed of 25-30 km per hour or something. But this is what you need actually for shorter distances. And it's quite effective. And it is at a throwaway price, I tell you. It is so affordable and so convenient for families, for people going around, even for the elderlies. These kinds of things are available in India's markets. If these can be tapped into, I see that it will make a difference in the mobility sector. Of course, India, we are now moving to the e-vehicles and those solar generated vehicles and the renewable sources. But in terms of transport and mobility, made in India vehicles, smaller vehicles have a promising market all over the world these days. And lastly, I would say the renewable energy. Another potential area where India has made rapid strides in the last couple of decades, and solar energy is today our strength. We are the founder member of the International Solar Alliance, and during Prime Minister Modi's visit, we had announced that Prime Minister Modi has announced that one of the government buildings in each of the CARICOM countries will be given solar electrification by Government of India. And of course this has been done. So here in Trinidad and Tobago it was announced that the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs will be that building to begin with. And that process is also starting. I have not gone into those details of Prime Minister Modi's visit, but certainly as you have seen, and Minister of Education is here, of course those laptops and then the hemodialysis units, sea ambulances, artificial limb fitment camp is coming up, we plan to do in the month of October, and several other items that have been planned are in the process. But the point is that government to government there is always a limit. These are the encouraging platforms. Ultimately our economies are driven by the private sector. Ultimately it is the businessmen have to do the business, and therefore these are just the facilitating platform like today's our conversation. This is not the place that we can actually do business deals, but this is about the brainstorming. This is about how we can bring together and how we can start the conversation, build a narrative, try to bring in all those stakeholders together. And this is important that this evening that all of you ladies and gentlemen have spared time and brought us together in SanFernando, which is already robust in trade and industry and business related activities. I hope that this kind of discussions in future also would encourage the business activities and bring in the economies of our two countries more closer, and in the process that we continue to make the efforts. I sincerely thank Kiran Singh ji and their entire team and all the dignitaries and everyone around for making this possible, providing us this opportunity. We look forward to have many more such occasions and evenings for these discussions. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. That was certainly splendid. Indeed, I'd like to also talk to Mr. Mohammed about the opportunities with New Delhi over here and how that program that you and I were talking about, that is an incentive offered by your government through the rebate incentive, and how it can actually work for companies coming out of India. So there's a lot of opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, sitting among us, and I'll just digress slightly, sitting among us, coming all the way from Knightsbridge in Cascade St. Anne's, is a young man who has been selling Trinidad and Tobago selflessly. He has been pushing our country for many, many years. And Your Excellency is a man who you could take to the Sundarban, because he's been taking people to our own versions of our Sundarban over here. And I think he is, through our Minister of Tourism as well, of great, great benefit. His mother was one of the finest curators of the National Museum of Trinidad and Tobago, and it's certainly a pleasure to have him among us here, because he's one of the finest tour operators in Trinidad. And indeed, through the tourism sector, we'd love the people of India to come and see our magnificent land and see the awesome similarities between us and places like Goa. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Stephen Broadbridge is here. Please, Mr. Broadbridge, please stand up. Thank you for coming all the way from Port of Spain. You made it past the lighthouse. Congratulations. The County Bridge sometimes is a little too far, isn't it? But thank you. I know you would have found your way. I had the opportunity of meeting our next speaker just a while ago, and he's indeed the ministry that I'm dealing with directly. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time with him in the future. So I'm happy to make his acquaintance. Here to bring you greetings on behalf of the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism. Mr. Nairan Mohammed is the Director of Industry Business Development Directorate in the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism, and he's bringing greetings on behalf of the Parliamentary Secretary of the Ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome for Mr. Nairan Mohammed.
Dr. the Honorable Michael Dowlat, Minister of Education and Member of Parliament for SanFernando West. His Excellency Dr. Pradeep Singh Rajpurohit, High Commissioner of India to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. His Worship Councillor Robert Paris, Mayor of SanFernando. Mr. Hansen Narayan Singh, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training and MP for Claxton Bay. Mr. Kiran Singh, President and members of the Greater SanFernando Area Chamber of Commerce, members of the business community, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be with you this evening to convey remarks on behalf of Dr. Colin Bosine, Parliamentary Secretary at the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism. Dr. Bosine asks that I express regret for his absence today, but convey his regards for an engaging and insightful event. The Ministry takes this opportunity to commend the High Commission of India and the Greater SanFernando Area Chamber of Commerce for collaborating to host this timely event. We recognize all entrepreneurs, industry leaders, investors, and esteemed partners from India. Your presence today underscores the shared vision for closer cooperation between India and Trinidad and Tobago in seeking new frontiers of growth, innovation, and mutual prosperity. Trinidad and Tobago's relationship with India is rooted in more than half of a century of diplomatic friendship, cultural exchange, and shared values. From the days of Indianship, Indians in Trinidad and Tobago have woven themselves into the very fabric of our national life, contributing to our cuisine, our music, our festival, and above all, our enterprising spirit. This deep social bond has naturally evolved into robust bilateral cooperation over the years. The signing of a trade and investment promotion and protection agreement between both countries in 2007 contributed to subsequent high-level visits and exchanges between Port of Spain and New Delhi, reaffirming our mutual desire to strengthen trade, investment, and technical cooperation between both countries. This was evidenced in 2012 when the Honorable Prime Minister Kamala Prasad-Visesa paid a memorable state visit to India. During this trip, a number of key agreements and MOUs were signed. More recently, just last month, the Honorable Sri Narendra Modi ji, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, reciprocated an official visit to our shores, a landmark event that would only reinforce relations between both countries. Over the past 2 decades, India has emerged as one of the fastest growing economies in the world, with a population exceeding 1.4 billion, a dynamic middle class now approaching 500 million people, and annual growth rates averaging above 6% per annum. These offers Trinidad and Tobago an extraordinary market opportunity for goods entering that market. At the same time, Trinidad and Tobago, long known for its leadership in energy and petrochemicals, has embarked on an ambitious diversification drive. The ministry is focused on strengthening non-energy sectors, modernizing our infrastructure, and fostering an entrepreneurial ecosystem that prioritizes creativity, digital technology, and high-value services. By connecting India's large-scale innovation and capital with our strategic location, stable business climate, and talent base, a strong and vibrant economic partnership can be established between both countries that is truly transformative. In terms of trade with India, our exports have traditionally been dominated by non-energy products such as minerals, as well as iron and steel products. India in turn exports a diversified range of products including pharmaceuticals, motor vehicles, machinery and transport equipment, textiles, spices, essential oils, coffee, tea, chemicals and other related products to us here in Trinidad. A tangible example of this lucrative trading relationship between both countries occurred in May of this year when Carib Brewery Limited entered India, the world's largest beer market, through a partnership with Indian distiller Global Spirits Limited. This beer is now being sold in cities such as Lucknow, Kanpur and Ayodhya. Arising out of the recent visit by Prime Minister Modi, there were several key outcomes and proposed initiatives that have the potential to significantly advance business, trade and investment opportunities in India in various economic areas, such as information and communication technology. With India generally recognized as the back office of the world, and Trinidad and Tobago cybersecurity and business process outsourcing. Another area, as mentioned by His Excellency, is pharmaceuticals and healthcare. India's pharma industry is among the largest globally. We welcome partnerships in manufacturing generics, conducting clinical research, and establishing training programs for healthcare professionals. Next, there is agriculture and agri-processing, as mentioned by His Excellency as well. Our fertile land produces cocoa, citrus, root crops, and tropical products. By joining forces with India's agri-tech firms specialized in drip irrigation, high-yield seeds, and cold chain logistics, we can boost yields, production, and expand exports. Also is tourism, hospitality, and culture. Both nations recognize that tourism deepens people-to-people bonds. We can co-market dual destination holiday packages, training for hospitality professionals, and even joint musical and culinary festivals that celebrate our shared heritage. Last but not least is renewable energy. India's ambitious renewable target and our interest in solar, wind, and biotechnology offer opportunities for public-private partnerships, joint research, and technology transfer. Ladies and gentlemen, given these lucrative opportunities, the Ministry remains steadfast in its commitment to creating an entrepreneurial ecosystem that prioritizes trade, investment, and business with India. But in so doing, we are also cognizant that these deliverables are not only measured in dollars and cents, but through building lasting relationships that foster mutual prosperity and the creation of value chains that benefit our countries and uplift our people. In closing, let us remember that trade, business, and investment are not just transactions. They are expressions of mutual trust, shared values, and collaboration. Together, as a result of today's engagement, let us build bridges of commerce, not just corridors of conversation. Let us all innovate, invest, and inspire each other to engage and enhance trade between Trinidad and Tobago as partners in progress. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nairan Mohammed, Director of Industry, Business Development, Directorate of the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism. Thank you so much, sir. I'd like to welcome among us the Member of Parliament for Naparima, who just joined us, Dr. Narendra Rupnarai. Thank you, sir. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Culture and Community Development. Congratulations too. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, someone I'm deeply, deeply proud of. As a matter of fact, when he was named as the minister, it came to reality, something that I actually wished many, many years ago, because I felt that he was deserving of it. I had actually served briefly under Dr. Tim Gopi Singh at the Ministry of Education as the Communications Director. When this next speaker was the chairman of the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago, we saw some of the greatest advances under that department and that special entity under the ministry at the time. As a school principal, some of the greatest advances to probably the finest school in the Western Hemisphere, Naparima College, came under his stewardship. As a matter of fact, I think we won the most amount of intercalls during that time. We won the most. But for me, it was a proud moment when he was announced the Minister of Education, because I said that no one is more deserving of the post than this man. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a proud moment for me to welcome our Member of Parliament and indeed our Minister of Education, one of the finest human beings you could possibly meet, and a man who answers his phone and returns calls. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Michael Dowland, Member of Parliament for SanFernando West.
Thank you all very much. Please be seated. Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy that the previous speakers would have had view of my speech, so I won't be very long here. But I want to say, as I begin, thank you very much, Master of Ceremony, Sir Hans Beatoda. I want to especially recognize the High Commissioner of India in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Pradeep Rajpurapoti. I want to recognize my colleagues, Mr. Hansen Narayan Singh, Member of Parliament for Clacson Bay, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training. Let's welcome him. And as the chairman did, Dr. Narendra Rupnarayan, MP for Naparima, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Culture and Community Development. Let's welcome him. I want to say to Mr. Kiran Singh, President of the Greater SanFernando Area Chamber of Commerce, you have 3 members of Parliament here together to support this discussion with our ambassador. It means and it signals the importance of this conversation by the government led by Mrs. Kamala Prasad Biswas. I also want to recognize Mr. Nairan Mohammed, Director of Industry, who is representing the Parliamentary Secretary, Minister of Trade and Tourism, His Worship the Mayor of SanFernando, Mr. Robert Paris, Mr. Anand Matai and Ms. Seema Bala from the High Commission of India, but especially all the distinguished members of the Chamber of Commerce, all the business leaders, entrepreneurs, citizens of SanFernando. As the MP for SanFernando West, I want to welcome all of you to the constituency of SanFernando West. Welcome. So I'm very happy to stand here before you to give my stamp of approval to this event. It is something groundbreaking, it is significant, and it's really about vision. Vision for the future of Trinidad and Tobago and how it's connected to the greater vision of India. And so, doing business with India is a key pillar of our national development strategy. And this strategic partnership now is something that will bring benefits. And I'm especially looking forward as Minister of Education to those laptops. Ambassador, I know they will come soon, to our students. But it is built on that unique historical bond. And I want to say, at this place on High Street in SanFernando, which was one of the early areas of commerce, SanFernando started off as the industrial capital. In my time here, I label it the education capital. We have some of the best schools in the country. But I want to say that given the kind of insightful innovation that has been led by India, I want to promote SanFernando now beyond the industrial and educational to the innovation capital or hub of Trinidad and Tobago. And so, as we re-scope and re-engineer our businesses, it means that digital learning must be one of those key principles that underlie the way in which we move forward. And yes, we look to India for that leadership with digital payments, the OPI cards, and all of those initiatives that would have been worked out and that have been successful. I want to say that I'm very thankful on behalf of the government of Trinidad and Tobago for all of those gifts that came to us from that visit from Prime Minister Modi in agriculture and in all the other areas. But we spoke about the connection with our people, we spoke about tourism, we spoke about culture, we spoke about the religious connection. And I want to say that in SanFernando, here we have now a world of opportunity that's open to us. And it's for us now to be better organized. There are 2 chambers, and those chambers have to collaborate. The mayor, I spoke with him a little while ago, he's all on board with us as the MP for SanFernando West and with all our colleagues and the government of Trinidad and Tobago. So it's a win-win-win-win situation for all of us. But we have to be very strategic and systematic, because as our ambassador said, we have to find the new knowledge. We have to have new ways of learning. We have to understand that the old ways of doing business will not carry us forward into new success. And so, with these few words, I want to ask God's blessing on this particular event. I want us to understand that today is a pioneering event. It is something that we are starting that will bring blessings to this country, to all our citizens, and by extension, the whole of CARICOM. Trinidad and Tobago has been a leader in CARICOM. And so therefore, this is an opportunity for us to continue to lead. And especially I want to say the chamber and the leadership. This is an opportunity for us in SanFernando to lead Trinidad and Tobago. As our Prime Minister said, you know, education is my business. But she says this, that education is a vehicle out of poverty to prosperity. And so, your business and all of our businesses is now given that boost, is given that injection, that adrenaline, is given a whole new way of looking at the world. New doors are open for us. It's ready like a revolution. So, as we develop these meaningful partnerships with India, as we look to their leadership, their visionary policies, we want to see the growth of SanFernando. And there's a saying that the rising tide, because we start from Sunset Cove and we go straight up to the Guayacara River. And on one side, we have the whole Gulf of Paria. It says this, the rising tide lifts all the boats. And so SanFernando, the Chamber, and SanFernando West, we have an opportunity to bring that kind of prosperity to Trinidad and Tobago. So with these words, I pray that as we move forward with purpose and with this partnership, I'm really proud of the work that has been done today as we begin this partnership. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Michael Dowlett, Minister of Education, Member of Parliament for SanFernando West. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker. As a matter of fact, I used to think that the former Member of Parliament for Faizabad, he was known as the WWF champion. Wake, wedding and funeral. This is Chandra Sharma. But within the last couple of years, I got to meet a man who rivals who rivals you. But he added another F. Wake, wedding, funeral, and fete. However, I could tell you this. Just before he comes up here to speak, I remember when he took charge as the mayor, he met with Mr. Singh and I at my office because he wanted us to help him to resolve the issue of illegal vending on the street, but he didn't want anybody to suffer. He said, I don't want people to lose money. He said, but I cannot allow the businesses to be held under duress because of the vendors who were creating all sorts of problems. And I never forgot that meeting went from 6 o'clock sitting with us as the chamber to help him to resolve the issue here on High Street, and it went till 3 a.m. in the morning until something was worked out. That's the level of his commitment. So the WWFF champion is here to bring us some greetings. He is our mayor. He's the first citizen. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the incredibly hard-working Mr. Robert Paris.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joda. What he didn't tell you is that I told him on that day that I grew up watching him on TV, and when I returned back home from my studies, I was in awe of him, and I was just amazed and awestruck that I felt that my life had turned full circle, that I was actually in the same room with Hansley Joda. So let me start with my salutations. Dr. Preeti Rajput, High Commissioner for India to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Let me also acknowledge the members of the government who are here with us. I see in our midst, well, I know I've met most of you at different events, but I haven't had the opportunity yet, sir, the Member of Parliament for Point-a-Pierre, and I hope that we can have a conversation soon because you do border with the city of San Fernando. My style, ladies and gentlemen, is well known. I am a San Fernandian. I love San Fernando first. Everything else second. I believe in the power of people, and I believe in the power of Trinidad and Tobago. But today, I promise you I will not be speaking, as Kiran spoke, anything about any tariffs. I don't think that any of the politicians in the room want to talk about that one, Kiran. I have a meeting with the US delegation on Tuesday, so I will not be speaking on that. But I want to speak about our good relationships with India. And before I start, let me acknowledge my first line minister. When I say my first line minister, I've been in this business for over 15 years. And he has served as an advisor behind the scenes for me as the mayor of San Fernando. And I must always acknowledge Mr. Chandra Sharma. Sir. So, you hit on some poignant points. And as I sat down and I watched the Invest India video, I felt a little jealous because I was an integral part. I was a young cub then in the political game, watching Uncle Patrick with Invest TT. And I said to myself, my God, look how far the Indian diaspora, let me correct myself, how far the Republic of India has reached in terms of their development. Have you all surpassed Japan yet? In terms, look at that. They have surpassed Japan in terms of growth in economy. And there's so much that we can learn from you at this time. I heard that Trinidad and Tobago right now, as we diversify from the petrochemical industry, we can lend so much to you, and I'm glad that you have touched on that. But also, Mr. Joda and Kiran and myself, on behalf of the business people, have been talking for the last 2.5 years about creating a supply chain to SanFernando from Asia. We look at the growth of China, and we have looked at the growth of India. And on the last occasion we had a conversation, I did indicate to you that I would be interested in possibly twinning with somewhere in India. I think it could only lend towards the development of our city, and certainly what it is that we as SanFernandians aspire to. Let me take the opportunity to also thank you, because I know that you met with my line minister, my now line minister, who I've known for a very long time, Ms. Amin. And I got a memo this week about quick impact projects within the city of SanFernando. So I did respond, and Kiran, you would be pleased to know that we will continue with the development of Harris Promenade. That is a dream for all of us, because all of us who are SanFernandians, we aspire to see that promenade into a place we can once again be proud of. What the promenade has become is not what we remember it to be. And certainly, I think that with your generosity and the generosity of India, we can certainly invest into making that space into a great space again. Also, we looked at, I like the solar energy, and I have put into my proposal for quite some time. I've been asking for proper LED lighting on Mokarapo Street in front of the market. And certainly I think that we can look into that solar lighting. And Doc, I think we need to have a conversation, because Dr. Daulat, I must say, all of the accolades bestowed upon you, sir. And I think that, and I put politics aside, I think that you will be a very successful Minister of Education and Member of Parliament. Because Dr. Daulat and I speak regularly. As a matter of fact, I want to thank Dr. Daulat publicly, because when my father fell ill, one of the first calls that I made was to Dr. Daulat, and Dr. Daulat and members of the government did call and check on my father's health. And I want to thank you all for that level of concern. That is the level of humanity we as Trinidadians should aspire to. Put the politics aside. My job is to represent every SanFernandian, and I do that with my heart. I don't want to take up much more, but I want to say that what I'm impressed by India is this: the majority of their workforce is young people. Technology is the wave of the future. And certainly we have a brain drain in Trinidad and Tobago, and we have a lot of persons who are home, who are eminently qualified and cannot get work. I think that we need to explore some level of, maybe we can go on a delegation to understand better how you have accomplished that in your country. I have never had the opportunity to travel to your beautiful country, and I would like the opportunity to represent this beautiful city in India. So ladies and gentlemen, indeed, I am always pleased to be in a room of SanFernandians and business people, because my love, other than for my family, is to see this city develop to be a thriving, bountiful city. And I thank you sincerely. All the best.
Beautiful speech. Thank you very much, Your Worship, Mayor Robert Paris. And I'm happy that you mentioned the promenade, because I grew up on that promenade, like President Singh. But interestingly, and featured in one of my films, were the monuments that are to four great men on that promenade. And I think it's important that we bring it up to the world-class standard. Because there, the four men I'm referring to is Marcus Garvey, is one of them. The other is Rodney Wilkes, Trinidad and Tobago's first Olympic medalist. The third is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. And the fourth is our first Prime Minister, Dr. Eric Eustace Williams. So I think it is important that we deal with the issue of the promenade. Thank you so much, sir. Indeed. We now have a Q&A segment. This is very important. This is where you get the opportunity to reach out to our hosts here and the head table for any questions that you may have. And this is going to be hosted by Mr. Anand Matai from the High Commission of India. So if I can call on Mr. Matai. Yes, sir. Here he is, this handsome fellow over here. And he's going to be taking your Q&A segment. I believe you're going to be passing a microphone around, correct? Yes, so there's a microphone. You can just put up your hand. We're going to just hand it around. And you can address the head table shortly. Thank you. Mr. Matai, please give him a round of applause, will you?
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Ajuda. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we will have a question and answer segment. Before that, what we will do, protocols. Please raise your hand, and my colleague here will have a microphone. Identify yourself and pose your question, and our High Commissioner, he will take the question and answer. But let me say, I will take 2 questions, and then we'll ask His Excellency to respond, and members of the head table. So, kindly raise your hand and pose your question from the audience. I'm sure you all have some questions we will want to ask His Excellency about doing business with India. So let's see a raise of hands. Okay, we have a gentleman at the back. The mic is okay, just make sure it switches on.
Yes, it's on. Thank you. My name is Anand Rameshwar Singh, CEO of Anand's Wool and Diamond Collection and Pioneer's Dragon Fruit Farm. One of the questions I would like to ask you is, going to India or bringing anything from India, we have to go to either USA or England, and you have to get visas and so on. Would there be any flights from India direct to Trinidad in the near future?
All right, before respond, I'll take one more question and then I'll ask Excellency to respond to that question. Okay, we have this gentleman, Mr. Broadbridge.
Hi, good afternoon. I had one question that I know very little about India. I've visited the East in Nepal many years ago in the 90s, but there are a lot of changes since then. But what I was curious is, I know a lot of dialects are spoken in India, and I wonder about the language barrier and how Trinidadians will communicate with doing business. There's a large English-speaking population. Also, are there any cultural differences that we need to pay attention to? And I don't want to get into too many things that I was always, to be totally honest with you, a little concerned about the caste system, and I don't know if that still exists in India. And if so, do we have to handle that differently? What cultural adaptations will we have to do?
Thank you very much, sir. I'll ask His Excellency to respond.
Okay. So, I begin with the question on the flights, connectivity and all. There is of course a distance, and it's a distance what we call 7 seas away, Saat Samandar Par in true sense. There have been efforts in the past also. India's aviation sector is currently going under a transformation. As you see that we have a large population and our own domestic aviation is also quite demanding, and even in the nearby international circles. So major carriers in India are all private sector, and they are in the process of, they have ordered hundreds and hundreds of aircrafts, as you see in newspapers and all. So at the moment, I think our side is more tied up with, the domestic and internal requirement. Of course, we welcome from Trinidad side that if they have, or the Caribbean side, that they come up with, the alternatives. Our both countries had signed the air services agreement way back in 2012 when Honorable Prime Minister visited India. But of course, all these efforts that we would facilitate and welcome, any effort in the direction of Trinidad and Tobago signing and having an arrangement in the countries in the Middle East or those connecting flights will also make a difference. But at the time, this remains a challenge. On the question of general environment, business environment in India, I think a lot of perception about India is driven by what is published and what is presented in the Western media. So your queries about the caste system and the language barrier and all these are the perceptions which you can only change by actually visiting India, actually exploring India and then seeing that where we are. I mean, it is such a large country. You go in any part of India, law and order wise, it is one of the most stable countries. There is absolutely, it's a tourism friendly country. We get a record number of tourists every year. It is getting more and more business friendly, as has been evident in the ease of doing business index. In terms of language, yes, we have local languages and all, but for your business purposes, it is all English. We have a reasonable number of young educated population to deal with everyone around. So let me tell you that language is not a barrier for people coming from this part of the region. Culturally, there may be sometimes a confusion because many of the people look like us. So what happens that when there are lines for foreigners and lines for Indians. You may be standing in a queue of foreigners, but then people will confuse and say, what are you doing there? Come on this side. That happens. But barring that, actually it is a very, very welcoming country for foreigners. Prime Minister Modi ji has a special drive for the tourism. To promote tourism, to bring in all those activities. We have special cells made for business friendly environment for our friendly countries around. Today the challenge is to find the right partner in India because it's a large country. You need to know where are you going. India is not Delhi. Delhi is not India. It is much more than that. Or the metro cities, Mumbai or few cities. There are hidden gems in different smaller towns and other places around. So it is important to have right partner, right location so that you can maximize your presence there, for your stay there and for your long travel around. But at the moment what we see, and I can say you with firm confidence that all those who have visited India, explored India, once they have gone, they keep on going. And that has been our effort that once please visit. Prime Minister Modi ji said in his address to the community that don't visit India, to the youngsters particularly, that don't visit India virtually only. Don't just go on the internet and visit India. Just come over, explore India more, visit India and see how things are. So my humble submission is that explore India more and see the ground situation around.
Thank you very much, High Commissioner. We'll take a few questions. Any member of the audience have any questions again? Yes, we have a question.
Hello, good afternoon everybody. My name is Richard Ramarika. I am the President and CEO of the Love Medical Group of Companies. I have two questions. One has to do with regards to customs and excises. We talk about taxes. and duties and so on. So my concern is whether the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and this is a question and it's open to the table. At table we have Dr. Mohammed from the Ministry of Trade here. Are there any special conversations happening between India and the government of Trinidad and Tobago to facilitate more efficiency in the customs and excise division? We're talking about an entire supply chain issues, shipping cost, and the associated duties for goods. That's an issue that a lot of businessmen will face. So that's a conversation I am hoping that the authorities will address. The other issue, and I want to speak a little more specifically to the pharma industry with respect to drugs and so on. As we know, we do have the Chemistry, Food and Drugs Division under the Ministry of Health in Trinidad and Tobago, and there is an approval process. In order for a drug to be approved, you must get something called a notice of approval, and that's quite a rigorous process with our current system. So my concern is, with regards to the opportunities opening up with the pharma industry, how is it that we are going to address the Chemistry, Food and Drugs Division mandate to ensure the safety of the products coming onto our market? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll take one other question and then I'll ask the head table. Any question?
Good evening, everyone. Some members of the audience wanted to find out a little more about the OCI card, taking into consideration that we have no idea or no documentation of our ancestry. How do we go about doing this as we have no paperwork? Thank you.
Okay, I'll have 6 seconds.
So, I start with the OCI card related question. Look, Prime Minister Modi ji had announced only the 6th generation. Not that this process is already in place for years and years. It is available, it has been available to the diaspora members up to 5th generation. And many of them are already there, but then there are only 6th generation. So we do this process and get this specific approval from time to time. The OCI card is a special privilege. We encourage people of Trinidad and Tobago of the diaspora origin to avail this facility. This is actually like a passport of India. Barring what all you cannot have is the voting right, or you cannot get into the local politics. Barring that, you are as good as, you have all the privileges of being an Indian citizen. You do not need visa, you can buy properties there, you can do business there, you can have education, degrees, all kinds of privileges. And once you have the OCI card and you go to the immigration counter, you will be treated specially. Now this arrangement is in place for a long time. The entire information is available on the High Commission's website. Please check that. It is under the consular and community matters. If you drop it down, you will see OCI card and all the details, including what are the papers required, all the procedure for fulfilling online submission, bringing back these submitted form to the High Commission. There will be a digital online submission, then the process of verification back in India. There is a process. It's not difficult, but what it requires is the requisite papers and the procedure. To our knowledge, more than 10,000 citizens of Trinidad and Tobago have already availed this facility. I can give you the precise number. But interestingly, when Prime Minister Modi ji announced, we are getting more calls these days, more and more about the curiosity that, this is going on. We are happy for that. And in that context, we wish to organize some of the workshops in different corners around, and probably we may do one in SanFernando also, so that you get to know exactly how it is done, and we solicit more cooperation from the community leaders, that if you can, in the past we made this effort. The interesting part is that when we tried for the workshops, we didn't get the turnout. We tried in Diwali Nagar, in other places, we got only hardly 10-20 people. So if there is a desire, if you can guarantee me at least 100 persons here, we'll organize the workshop next week. We can do that. Huh? So OCI card from Government of India, the mandate for us is to encourage more and more of you to be part of that and feel like a citizen of India, have more connection, get closer to the land of your forefathers. Coming to the question on the pharmaceuticals, as I mentioned that a pharmacopoeia agreement has been signed, and the process is that once the agreement is signed, the cabinets of both sides give their approval, and thereafter the government of Trinidad and Tobago, the health ministries are in touch. They are going to have some meetings, and thereafter a process will be worked out. So in a manner that the regulatory body, it may have a different name in India, a different name in Trinidad and Tobago, that the regulatory body's mandate will be changed in a manner that the pharmaceutical products, the molecules made in India will be registered, will be acceptable here. We have to see, that discussion is currently going on, that whether they would like to get into the drug testing laboratory initially. But to my knowledge, once everything is established, the pharma products made in India will be allowed in toto, and they will be allowed for marketing, for distribution, both in the government sector and the private sector. But as I said before, the discussion is currently underway. Visit has taken place few weeks ago, and this is work in progress at the moment. Once these are finalized, the regulatory bodies decide, make their decision, then thereafter the business communities will be informed, and probably we may do some kind of discussion on this particular sector in the times to come. Right? We did one on the pharmaceutical sector, I believe earlier in the year, in the month of February or so. So this is a work in progress at the moment. On the customs, I think the government representative would like to say something.
Okay, so thanks for the question concerning the operational efficiencies at the port and at customs and excise, which falls under the Ministry of Finance, well, and that ministry as well, right? Not under the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism, but I can tell you, because the ministry is directly related to trade and enhancing trade, we have been pursuing a project in collaboration with the Port of Trinidad and Tobago, as well as the Customs and Excise Division. And this project is called the Port Community System, or PCS in short, right? So it is being facilitated through 3 operational issues currently happening, which is the Navis system operated by the Port of Trinidad and Tobago, the Asicura system, which is operated by Customs and Excise, and the single electronic window, which is managed by the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism. So we are currently pursuing an exercise to harmonize these 3 systems, which all have to do with enhancing the operational efficiency of clearing cargo and port pass-through and goods entering and departing Trinidad and Tobago in a more seamless and efficient way with cost reductions as well. So that project is currently ongoing with Customs and Excise and the port. So we hope to get some sort of recovery in the time in which containers are cleared and costs involved for demurrage and rent to be coming down and so forth. In terms of your other question with respect to import duties and so forth on items coming in from India to Trinidad and Trinidad to India and vice versa, one of the proposals and recommendations coming out of the visit by the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi, was the signing of a partial scope trade agreement between Trinidad and Tobago and India. That is something that is being considered right now and will take its natural course with bilateral engagements through the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs and with the embassy here in Trinidad, as well as India, and the Ministry of Trade and Industry will be playing, the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism will be playing a lead role in facilitating that. So that is where we are with respect to these issues, and I'm happy to respond to your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. We will take a final 2 questions from the member of the audience. So I see a question being posed.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I am Diane Joseph, the President of the Trinidad and Tobago Coalition of Services Industries. And we focus heavily on the services sector. So I would like to know whether there are opportunities for services and investment of services or export of services in India. And also whether Invest India, based on your very insightful presentation, would have relationships, or could we have our service providers such as entertainment or financial services and so connect with Invest India in any form? My next question is whether you have financial cooperatives in India, and if so, how successful is that service?
Okay. We'll take a final question from this gentleman.
Hi, good day. My name is Sunil Ganesh. I'm the Business Development Manager for the SanFernando Chamber here. My question is in terms of business. When we do an online search for products, usually you will have Alibaba, right? Made in China, AliExpress, and India Mart, right? Usually those are the 4. Right? So how does India plan to compete with China, right? Because that is where I would say the issue is in terms of cost, then in terms of bringing products from India comparatively to China, right? Secondly, we have the higher shipment costs. So if I go and look for some product then, so going forward, I would like to see that some concessions or agreements made with Trinidad for lowering the shipping cost, then, because right now it's like 3 times the cost as in China. So if we were to go and buy stuff, then you'll notice most of our products would come from China, and equivalent products made in India not being shipped to Trinidad then, or what we would like to purchase there. Okay. The other item I would have is the engineering side. I'm an engineer, okay, and Atlantic LNG, almost 90% of the engineering was done in New Delhi, Galiota expansion job and stuff. I know the minister here would be very interested, but I mean, we don't really hear much about it in terms of going out there and really encompassing that. We like to talk about software and stuff, but the hardcore engineering systems is what you need. You want to build schools, you want to build hospitals, you want to build roads, you need to have that type of stuff. And all the huge multi-corporations, and then the Bechtel, Fluor, all of these corporations have offices, Worley, Woodside, all of them have offices in India then, and we would like to see some stuff set up for here then in Trinidad and collaborate with each other. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have a final question, this gentleman, and keep it very short, please. So we have a final question, and Excellency will respond.
Hi, good evening. My name is Vishwanath Maharaj. Basically, I'm a director of Civil Limited, engineering consultancy firm. Right? Basically, I just want to speak on behalf of the audience here, right? Because I believe as most of the business community taking the time to attend this event have some level of interest in actually pursuing business with India, right? We may have services as one of that was just raised, or we may have business individuals who searching for opportunities. I must commend the effort and what was presented here today. And basically, coming out of this, what would be facilitated pretty much to the business community here thereafter today, moving forward in terms of meeting and expressing our ideas, questions, and making our dreams or our intentions fruitful from this event? Would there be any specific contact personnel? Would there be any specific email, phone number, so on, that we can probably reach out to the attendees of this event?
Thank you very much, sir. His Excellency will respond.
So I begin with the services sector. As you know that India is a services dominated economy. About 60% of India's GDP comes from services. And that has been our strength. And there is a wide range of services, starting from the software and IT services to financial services, to banking, hotels, hospitality, tourism, and a number of other things, BPO, outsourcing, plenty of things around. It is such a robust sector, and India's service exports are also considerable, in addition to the merchandise export. As I said before, it is an ocean. You have to customize your package. Sitting in people in India, for them, there is a large, they have large partners around. There are people in countries, economies, business partners in their vicinity. From Trinidad and Tobago, if there is an interest for participation, collaboration in the services sector, I see immense potential, because language is not a barrier for you. You have a large young population. You are located in the vicinity of between Middle, South and North and South America. I see an ideal atmosphere. We have a difference of day and night also. So there are complementarities what I see in the field of services sector. I think this has not been explored. Let me tell you that not much emphasis has been put in place on this. So far we have been discussing the merchandise trade. In terms of the services, we have not got into those details. Even my all time here, not many have actually approached us on this particular aspect. But there is a robust partnership forging between several of our partners in our neighborhood and in our part of the world. We have great collaboration with the United States, with Europe, with Canada, and many other countries around. So if there is interest, these entities, as I said, it is driven by the private sector. If there is interest for collaboration in these sectors, export of those services around, we can put in touch. We are very much, in a position to connect, facilitate those platforms around, and bring people on the respective sectors together. The financial cooperatives is something which we had, what we call microcredit units, smaller banks. We have those rural banks. It has been a backbone of India's economy. We have these small and medium enterprises, and for them there have been those banks and cooperatives. But in India, cooperative is a wider term, and you won't believe that recently we have set up a separate Ministry of Cooperation only to deal with the cooperatives. So all those cooperatives in the field of agriculture, dairy, fisheries, and several other areas, that is smaller at the village and the small town level, that we have cooperatives. I give you an example. I come from a remote area in Rajasthan. We have milk, dairy cooperatives. So how typically happens in Indian household, everyone has 1 or 2 cows or buffaloes, depending on their requirement. So the household, they have their cows and buffaloes because everyone wants fresh milk, So that culture still prevails in smaller places. So that milk they just take out and then they keep for their own use, the household, and the rest of the excess milk is actually sent to a dairy unit in the village. So all that milk is collected at one place, and that milk is then taken to a bigger town, and there is a processing facility. where the milk is pasteurized, various products of milk are made like butter and yogurt and several other things, paneer and various things around. And the price given by the village unit to the farmers, to the household is the best possible. And they get on instant prices, so they keep for their own use, and rest of the milk is actually given for the Cooperative Dairy Federation. So such Cooperative Dairy Federation we have all over India by different names. One of the prominent name is called Amul. It is one of the largest brand in probably in the world in terms of dairy. And we had this white revolution coming out of all that. But this is just one of example. In terms of the financial cooperation, these cooperatives, we do have smaller banks, credit units, credit agencies around which give smaller lending to different for various purposes at a discounted interest, and this has been widely used all over. Of course, the government of India has now come up with various welfare schemes. So these days this is another model that we have, that the government provides in different form, some in subsidy, some in loan, and some at different offers, different packages. So it is probably what you may be asking and what I have the answer, there may be a little bit of difference. On the question of, well, this is a India, China, but certainly the online, the e-commerce, India is very robust these days. Even in the smaller places, you get things delivered at instant. You know, there are different packages the other day at a very nominal charges. The things like the air conditioner, but it is not about the air conditioner, everything around, except barring that if you are looking for a automobile or something, everything is available on the e-platform, e-commerce. So e-commerce is another area of collaboration in the services sector, because it is a major source of revenue for us in the GDP. So some of these companies, if they are looking for that kind of best practices sharing, we can put them in touch on these platforms. India's major e-platform called Flipkart, it has reached to a certain height, and then it was overtaken by Walmart some years ago. But these days we have another competition in India that is called how fast a delivery can be made. So we have a platform called Blinkit. But by the time you blink, that in the 10 minutes that you have the service at your delivery or the product at your delivery. We have the food services supplies. These are like, you have to have given in certain minutes. And these kinds of platforms these days, that how faster is the delivery, how faster that you can reach out. So e-commerce has actually transformed India's traditional market. So the traditional shops and the supermarkets have been gradually replaced by those warehouses. And gradually that these things are supplied, everything is available, but certain price and certain duration. And it is working very well. It is saving time, it is giving employment, and it is still a work in progress. But I will not be in a position to answer on the China part. On the engineering services, yes, we are a major supplier of engineering products. In the construction sector, India has moved a lot, moved very fast. Our construction is world class, our products are world class. This has not been explored in this part of the world, but we have done several infrastructure projects in other continents around, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, in Central Asia, and many places around. But this is still a untapped potential, an area which is yet to be explored. Anyone interested, we have the world-class marble, world-class granite, world-class all those stones which are generally used for high quality construction, and it is exported from India all over the world. So we are at your disposal on this. We are getting queries from India that they are stone suppliers, stone merchants, and a full range, including catalogs. So when I come to the last question, and it's a very pertinent question, I like that, I'm happy that you have asked this question, because these conversations takes place and nothing happens. We just have a good meal around and then we move to our respective worlds. I just wish to have a continuity, and in this context there are couple of ideas I have in mind, and as we have done with the earlier Chamber of Commerce. One, I have already floated that if we have queries from India, we have all the time. You know, there is someone supplying such and such item, such and such item. Is it possible that, Kiranji, we send it to your chamber and you will then circulate among all? So this is one area of continuity we will do with others also, Anand. Right? This is how we will be able to reach out and not sending all the time to Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have to reach out directly to them. The second part is that we have more such discussions, right? And maybe we can have a sector-specific discussion. For example, we have done in the past also that not just the High Commissioner is speaking or the local, our host government dignitary is speaking. We bring in somebody from India virtually, and on this screen you can have interaction with them, and let's focus on one area. For example, agriculture or pharmaceuticals or engineering or something. We can do that, and if there is a desire, what I need with all humble submission is a strength of 100. If you have a strength, if you guarantee a strength of 100, I will be happy to bring in all those export promotion councils and all these specialized bodies to speak and interact freely with them. So you have directly having the communication with them. This is the second area of continuity. The third is that we will then give you these contact details of our commercial officer, of our market representative, what is your designation, marketing assistant, and couple of others, so that you can reach out to us, you can communicate on real-time basis, and you get a proper response. It is important for the sake of continuity, and we will do that. Anand, will you please publicize your number and the commercial, both the emails on for yours and the commercial, our officer, in this context.
Definitely,
right?
definitely.
Yeah? All right, thanks.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Just feel free to reach out to me, myself and Ms. Bala. Our emails are there in the standing there. Feel free to shoot us with an email, your trade queries. We'll be happy to assist. Yeah. So my email is trade.pospain@mea.gov.in. So that again, trade.pospain@mea.gov.in, and my line officer's email is com.pospain@mea.gov.in. Feel free to get in touch with us at 235-7600. We'll be happy to address your trade queries.
All these details are also available on the High Commission's website. Please just visit and see commerce part. You will see all these details properly mentioned there.
Mr. Jonas said we'll send it through the chamber, and we'll be happy to assist you as best as we can. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your questions. At this time, we'll end off there, and I'll pass you on to the Master of Ceremonies.
Just to let you know, those of you, I imagine everybody who's in this room is on the chamber chat, correct? All right. Through the chamber and through our president, we'll be able to give Mr. Matai's email address and all the contacts for the commission. Don't worry about it. All right. So we'll send it first on the chat, and from there, for those of you who are not on the chat, you can call Mr. Singh's secretary, and we'll be able to give you that information. Okay? All right. Just very quickly, Mr. Broadbridge, my granddaughter in Goa speaks 3 languages: English, Hindi, and the Goan dialect. Yeah. My family here spoke mainly Bhojpuri and Hindi as a child growing up, and I myself also had to communicate. Language isn't really so much as a barrier, but the time difference is a big thing, because I have to speak to Delhi at midnight. Between midnight and 4 a.m. I have to speak to Delhi. That's the only special thing. And it's very easy for those of you who are 4th and 5th generation Shamsuddin, and I have his number, is doing searches for people who wish to contact your lineage in India for the OCI card. In my case, we maintain contact with our family in India. As a matter of fact, your former governor of UP, Uttar Pradesh, Mr. Bandari, is a relative of mine. And through finding out and checking lineage, Basdeo Pandey and I realized that we were related. Imagine that. And he sat down in the headquarters of the old Trinidad Sugar and General Workers Trade Union, and he wants me one day and he said, "Chief, you know you and me related?" Imagine that. So it's not difficult. It's not difficult. And the OCI card, His Excellency, I was disappointed that we only had about 10 or 12 people who came out for this, because I think the OCI card is very important, critical and important. Yeah, we're gonna. This chamber will help you to fill a room. And incidentally, you have such a beautiful name, Mr. Pradeep Rajpurohit. Pradeep, of course, is one of the greatest writers of India and lyricists of India. As a matter of fact, one of India's most patriotic songs, Ai Mere Watan Ke Logo, is truly was written by Pradeep himself. And I've witnessed over the years as a journalist, I've seen many high commissioners come and go, and I looked at you sitting down here and answering all these questions so fluently. Congratulations to you, sir. We're very proud of you, Your Excellency. And to the entire commission. As we move on, I think a little entertainment. Oh, by the way, we were told, Mr. Singh and I were told that we belong to the Brahmin caste. We were told that. However, we saw the importance of growing up in Trinidad and stepping outside romantically of the Brahmin caste, especially when you have such a variety. So it's not an issue anymore. I can assure you of that. Women, you know, understand what I'm saying, right? I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. We go to a little entertainment now. It's a short performance by Dr. Kamla Diani of the Mahatma Gandhi Institute for Cultural Cooperation. She's a vocal teacher and a performer. So let's welcome her. Before we ask for a vote of thanks, I'll ask Ms. Seema Bala of the High Commission standing by. So let me welcome Dr. Kamla Diani.
जिंदगी में तुम्हारे सिवा तुम
Seems as though anybody named Kamla does extraordinary things. Thank you very much, Dr. Kamla Dhyani, member of the Mahatma Gandhi Institute for Cultural Cooperation. I now welcome, for the vote of thanks, I met her the other day, Ms. Seema Bala. Welcome. Please give her a round of applause of the Indian High Commission.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed and distinguished guests, members of the media. On behalf of the High Commission of India in Trinidad and Tobago, it is my great pleasure to extend a heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us this evening. First and foremost, I would like to express our sincere thanks to His Excellency Dr. Pradeep Rajpurohit, High Commissioner of India to Trinidad and Tobago, for his leadership and invaluable guidance in making this event possible. A special thanks to Mr. Kiran Singh, President of the Greater SanFernando Chamber of Commerce, for graciously hosting us in SanFernando and for his continued support in ensuring the success for this event. We are deeply honored by the presence of Honorable Dr. Michael Daulat, Minister of Education, who joined us as the guest of honor. Sir, your presence has truly added prestige and warmth to this occasion. We are also grateful to His Worship, the Mayor of SanFernando, Mr. Robert Paris, for joining us and delivering such thoughtful greetings at this business gathering. A sincere thank you to Mr. Nairon Mohammed, Director of Industry at the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism, for sharing his insightful remarks on behalf of the Parliamentary Secretary. A big thank you to Mr. Hansley Ajoda, Secretary of the Greater SanFernando Chamber of Commerce, for expertly guiding us through today's program with such professionalism. We at the High Commission of India are delighted to note the growing collaboration and strong ties with the SanFernando Chamber of Commerce. We look forward to building on this momentum and working closely together to further enhance trade and business opportunities between India and Trinidad and Tobago. Once again, a big thank you to all of you for your presence and enthusiastic participation. Have a pleasant evening.
Just before we go, refreshments will be provided. And also there's an opportunity for photographs, members of the media, for those of you who wish to take photos. And of course, I want to remind you, Your Excellency, you spoke about the cooperative society in India. The Chamber has just recently formed the Southern Investment Marketing Cooperative, and we are looking to see how we can establish ties with our Chamber and that of the cooperatives in India. We have jerseys on sale, gorgeous jerseys, and Samaru, one of the people responsible for procuring that. Beautifully printed t-shirts, they're on sale, as well as pins. Please patronize us, patronize the Chamber. And of course, well, we look forward to you joining not only our membership, but joining the credit union as well, making certain investments. This was a great and wonderful opportunity. And one opportunity that I almost forgot to do, Your Excellency, Mr. Pradeep Rajpurohit, this was truly an honor for you, and we would like to make a presentation. I'd like to call on Ms. Ann Samaru to make this presentation to His Excellency, Mr. Pradeep Rajpurohit. Mr. President, I think that concludes our evening. I want to thank each and every one of you who came out here. It was indeed a pleasure to have every one of you, and please partake of our refreshments. Your Excellency, and to the staff of the Indian High Commission, thank you ever so much. And Jai Hind, Jai Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. The head table is going to be seated first, and then if we can allow them to just move. Yes, we'll be seated. And then we will have, we'll be taking some opportunities for photos as well.